There's a place I go whenever I need calming down. Like Kester says, the world is gonna happen, whether you like it or not.
Ray starts to be nostalgic about her relationship with Finn when she notices how far her mom is going to keep Karim. This is where we start to see deviations from the parallels of Ray's relationship and her mother's, but along with some similarities. Once Linda finds out she's pregnant, you can tell she feels like she has proved her worth as a woman, now being able to provide a child to her husband. However, Ray not being able to have sex with Finn demonstrates the opposite, where Ray does not feel she is fully able to fulfill the standards to be considered a woman. It's all the patriarchy, y'all. However, Linda's struggle to keep Karim is constantly changing as she moves from not being attractive enough to not being woman enough to not being Muslim enough. It's always a moving target, just like Ray's relationship with Finn. But Linda will go out of her way to be with Karim. Like, she was willing to hide him and have this secret relationship. Immigration laws are some shit. Linda legit left Ray after being hospitalized to go get married to this man, so... Like, I'm not saying Linda was a bad parent, but there was definitely a lot of bad parenting that led to Ray's behaviors and her issues. Meanwhile, while Linda faces the consequences, both good and bad, of being with a younger man, Archie faces the consequences of being openly gay.
To be honest, I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders. Obviously, there's some people... Well, I guess I just need to give people time.
He and Linda are actually more alike here because, despite facing backlash, they both were able to stand up for what they wanted despite what other people thought. You can tell Ray wishes she had done this with Finn, but by the time she could get past her initial insecurities of being with Finn and being compared to someone like Stacy, it's too late. And like Linda's moving target, Ray's also battling insecurities as she's no longer fighting comparisons with girls her age, but now older women. Elsewhere within the gang, Chloe and Finn are dating older people in their early to mid-20s. Openly grooming like this was more common in the 90s, with older teenagers in high school dating grown men and women. Now we have cyber grooming. I experienced this as a teenager in the 2010s as well, with multiple friends of mine dating older people while we were in high school. It's fucking exhausting. Leave the kids alone. Just kidding, cause Finn's groomer girlfriend is now trying to hang with the gang, who are a bunch of teenagers. She's 24 and he's 17, guys. I don't care if it's a man or a woman, ugly or attractive, it's grooming. So with everyone else dating, Ray tries to get with Liam, but he doesn't think she can handle sex with no attachment. And rightfully so, as she couldn't even handle sex with attachment. But Liam's negative self-talk only fuels the negativity that Ray already feels about herself, so it makes her feel validated and like he is the only person who sees things for how they are. They say misery loves company. Chloe then drives by Ray with her older groomer boyfriend, while Ray is fixing her bike. This is when Ray decides she wants to be seen as more mature and not as a little kid anymore.
Anything pink had to go. Anything with glitter on it had to go. Anything that resembled a troll or a fairy or a cartoon animal or had a heart on it, it had to go.
Despite Ray working so hard to just be a normal teenage girl, she has always used her friends as a guide, so once they all start acting more grown, Ray feels it's only right that she joins in too. This is all after Karim catches Ray smoking weed with her friends, and her mom tries to control her.
So you can't put a curfew on me.
It looks like I just did. Or do you not want me to buy you food and give you lifts everywhere? You know, all the stuff you can't do because you're not an adult.
But
Conversation over.
There's definitely a posturing that all kids do when they attempt to assert their independence from their parents. It's also hard for Ray to act like a child when she has been generally taking care of herself for a while. But again, it hasn't even been a year since Ray's attempt to take her life, not only once, but twice. Though it soon turns into more than that once Ray decides she wants to see her real dad.
I want his address.
No way.
I'm 16.
I'll think about it.
The gang then all go to the fair that night. Groomer alert. Chloe's hanging out with her groomer boyfriend, whose groomer friend said he was into Ray. Ray sees Finn with his groomer girlfriend and decides she'll stick with Chloe's groomer friend. Again, this really reiterates to Ray that dating older people as teenagers is fine, as her more socially desirable friends are doing so, but it also highlights how that same desirability at a young age becomes a curse when it's noticed by predatory adults as well. Chloe gets into her groomer boyfriend's car, which is of course a bad idea, but because Ray's too distracted by Chloe's groomer friend to stop her, she gets away with it and just goes off. Ray's then left behind with the loser groomer guy and his bottle of cheap vodka. This causes Ray to stay out all night and try to sneak in early in the morning thinking her mom was asleep. Ray's new attitude causes a very pregnant Linda to freak out at Ray, causing a very intense showdown.
I'm 16. I can do what I want.
Do me a favour, move in with him. I've done my shift. I don't want my baby growing up around someone like you.
Fuck you.
At their worst, mother-daughter relationships can be cutthroat, no matter how loving a relationship. Ray decides she'll go to find her dad, and finally meets him as she wants to prove to herself that she's an adult that can face her problems head on. However, when she finds him, she doesn't know how to feel. I think as a kid, it's probably easy to build up your expectations of someone, especially if that person is your parent. Part of that adult experience Ray's attempting to do is finding a way to accept whoever your parents are and deciding whether or not to keep them in your life. When she asks him to drive her home, he gives her a quick driving lesson, but once that's over, Ray admits to him that she's mad at him.
Me and your mum. If you can think of the worst matched couple in the world, that was us.
Look, you don't have to...
No, I do. I was ashamed of myself.
If you want to stay in touch, then you ring me.
I did like seeing Ray set boundaries with him off the rip. I give her credit for that. At group therapy, Liam gets jealous that Ray is seeing groomer guy number 3, and he tells her that he's open to being friends with benefits. However, Ray turns him down.
Come over tomorrow. We can hang out, as it were.
I'm busy tomorrow.
With the nameless man.
You'll probably be there, yeah.
Ray is reveling in this newfound desirability that makes her feel adult-like despite still being on the road to recovery. Ray has matured a lot, but her forgetting to take small steps to be her best self instead of taking big ones to match her friends is where she fails in her pursuit to be an adult. Her friends' issues are not her issues, and she can't rely on them to decide her choices. Only she can do that for herself. While Ray's reveling in the newfound power of having 2 guys into her at the same time, Finn comes over and tells her that his groomer girlfriend and him broke up. Ray's excited to add another guy to her list until Finn tells her that he's thinking of dropping out of school and moving away to work for his uncle in Leeds. Finn gives Ray an opening to express her feelings for him and stop him from leaving town, but she's too distracted with making it to her date with her groomer to fully connect with Finn, who is confiding on her.
Because I've got no other reason to stay. Have I?
Oh, shit. I've got to go.
This deepens this misaligned romance between Ray and Finn. It's like they keep doing this back and forth of wanting one another while the other's taken. It also further shows the impact of grooming and how these older adults literally take the innocence out of what should be the first relationships and distort the early sexual experiences of these children. Once Ray meets up with Chloe and the groomers, she catches them doing drugs and is caught off guard by it. However, she doesn't make a big deal about it and tries to have fun anyway, as another way of trying to be seen as an adult. This all leads to Chloe's groomer boyfriend convincing her to entertain their male gazes with a girl-on-girl drunken makeout session with Ray on the dance floor. While in the bathroom, Ray's groomer boyfriend attempts to sexually assault her, but Ray is able to stop him and get away. When she finds Chloe after it happens and tries to get Chloe to leave with her, Chloe is too fucked up with her groomer boyfriend and can't seem to care.
Just get your things. Right, you're deaf. I'm fine. I'm not coming.
Listen to your friend, Ray.
Chloe, please. I'm not feeling good.
Ray then runs to Kester's house as a safe space, but soon realizes he has someone over and Kester gets her to call her mom to pick her up. Instead of Linda, Krim picks up Ray. I feel like if Linda picked up Ray, they would have been able to have a more heartfelt conversation, but when she gets home and attempts to do so, Linda's pretty fed up with Ray. I think this demonstrates how Linda's main priority now is the new baby, and how she cannot be there for Ray in the way she used to be. Ray wants to be an adult and have the freedom of being able to do whatever she wants, but still doesn't know how to handle the consequences as well. Archie comes over that next day and tells Ray about how he saw Izzy kissing another boy right before he got into an argument with Chop, who hasn't been the same since Archie told him he was gay.
You're sitting there with your thumb up your ass while I take the piss out of me. Archer! Wait. You're a fucking coward! You deserve everything you get!
With all the gang going through different things, the stability that Ray had in all her relationships has slowly deteriorated. She used to have her friends as a reference, but now she's left to figure it out on her own. While Archie's telling Ray all of the tea, she gets a call from her dad, who invites her over to his place and gifts her with a record player for all the belated birthdays. Later at school, Ray and Chloe get into a really bad argument over Chloe's behavior at the party when Ray needed her.
You're fragile, you need constant management. It's not my fault you act like a kid. And it's not my fault you're frigid.
Oh, did Sol say that?
Yeah, you did. And it's true. Look what happened with you and Finn.
Despite her best efforts, Chloe keeps fucking up in a relationship with Ray and consequently keeps pushing her away. This is actually quite common in relationships with groomers, as they tend to isolate the person they are grooming from their community. That way they can make them feel helpless and less likely to seek support. Ray just went through something traumatic, and again, instead of Chloe recognizing how she was a bad friend and owning up to it, she shits on Ray for trying to hold her accountable. Looking for some support of her own, Ray then goes to find Finn, but learns he has already left for Leeds. She then tries to find Kester, but he doesn't answer his phone, so Ray goes over to his place instead. Kester, with the help from his new lady friend, finally decides to put his foot down and set boundaries with Ray, not allowing her to keep coming over outside their sessions. Kester's in the right to feel this way, but I think Ray, depending more on him, demonstrates her lack of a support system at home and school. Again, this is another aspect of being an adult. Your friends and family also have their own lives as well, so you have to make peace with them not always being there for you exactly when you need them to. Feeling rejected, Ray goes over to Liam's house and initiates sex with him, but to Ray's disappointment, he tells her to keep her clothes on because of their bodies and to just give him a blowjob instead.
What are you doing? Don't take your clothes off. Neither of us are oil paintings, are we? Probably best for both of us if we just kept our clothes on.
This leaves Ray feeling low, as she thought Liam liked her for who she was, but compared to Finn, Liam sucks. She was so desperate for validation and connection, she succumbed to her worst self and convinces herself that this is what she wants and deserves. It's like Ray's no longer self-harming through her own methods, and is now doing so by having sex with Liam, someone who provides that same echo chamber of negative self-talk. Later at school, Ray's tasked to replace Chloe at a school concert. Our girl Ray got some pipes. When Ray goes to Chloe's house to see what's been going on with Chloe, her parents say she went AWOL and is missing. However, they're not worried because apparently Chloe goes missing all the time and always comes back. Interesting parenting style, but okay. Like, we can start to understand Chloe more through this, and that she's not only seeking out attention at school, but also at home. And by the way her parents are reacting, she obviously acts out for attention because they don't seem to care about her in ways she needs. Chloe's love language is for sure words of validation. Ray then goes to Chloe's room to pick up some flyers and finds her diary. Despite having had her diary read and privacy violated, Ray can't help herself and digs into Chloe's diary like it's a best-selling novel. Doing this, Ray starts to realize that the way that Chloe perceived different events was completely different from how she perceived them.
That's not what happened. That is total bollocks. She never said all that stuff about me. She's warped it to make herself feel good.
She also learns that Chloe knew Ray had a mental breakdown before Ray told her the truth.
Ray Earl. She's back from France.
And Jacob Ratcliffe's dad says she's been ill. Mentally ill.
It's no wonder with a mother like that, though, is it?
Which further explains why Chloe was so dismissive of Ray's big reveal, even if Ray doesn't remember it the same way. It's also revealed that Chloe's diet was restricted at home by her mother, while she watched as her father ate whatever he wanted, because
Men have bigger appetites than women, Chloe, and big appetites need feeding.
So their bodies are big and bulky, and I mean, they eat like men. I wanted her to develop as a woman.
this demonstrates how Chloe doesn't just naturally fit the beauty standard, but has been conditioned by her mother to believe certain things about her body as a young woman and how it should be. Ray starts to get stage fright about singing in front of a live audience at the school concert, so Izzy gives her 2 tickets to invite someone to support her. It's really telling that Ray struggles with who to give the tickets to, seeing that just a few months ago, she had multiple people she could have given them to. As Ray continues to read Chloe's diary on her downtime, she comes to see that Chloe feels insecure about Ray due to Ray's humor and coolness, which leaves Chloe feeling left out and sidelined.
Diary, I'm crap at jokes. Ray's always cracking jokes. Some stuff I don't really get. I'm not stupid. I'm just not programmed like that. I need to practice. Yeah, but let's be honest, Ray. When was the last time you seen a tower? Seriously.
Ray learns that when Finn is nice to Chloe after Chloe feels sad, Chloe starts to like him and feel jealous of Ray's connection with him. When Ray asks her mom to come to her school concert, Linda is pissed at Ray for missing the baby scan she promised she'd come to. Again, this shows Ray's selfishness with her relationships with her friends and family, and how she can't see past her own issues to see how her behavior is affecting those around her as well. At her one-on-one sessions with Kester, he attempts to reiterate his boundaries as her therapist.
Set up good boundaries between us because I care about you and I need to be sure that I'm doing the best job possible for you. And sometimes that means putting a bit of space between us.
This causes Ray to reveal that she and Liam hooked up as she attempts to irritate Kester.
It was horrible. He told me to keep my top on because he said we're not exactly oil paintings.
And how did that make you feel?
It confirmed everything that I feel about myself.
It feels like Ray is back self-sabotaging as she continues to make poor decisions and finds ways to sour all her relationships with those in her support system. She feels even worse when she reads in Chloe's diary about how she made her feel when they were fighting over Finn.
Maybe Ray didn't mean it. But what if she was right? What if I didn't deserve someone like Finn? What if I didn't deserve someone good? Ray's a beautiful person, not bitchy and broken like me.
She's able to fully separate herself from it and start to understand how her friend was feeling, realizing that she was able to make Chloe feel insecure, and she was not the only insecure one in her friendship. During group therapy, a rift occurs between Liam and Kester.
You shut your mouth, please! Do you have to be so disruptive, do you? People come here to try to learn to cope, and all you do is undermine it.
Causing him to leave and Ray to follow. Liam tells Ray that he's quitting therapy and that it doesn't work. He also tells Ray that he believes that they were made for each other and they should be fuck-ups together. There are so many red flags with Liam, but Ray's lack of a support system and people to rely on causes her to keep chasing after him. Which you can also see is the same mentality that causes her to keep trying to pursue a relationship with her father after he'd been absent her whole childhood. It honestly probably stems from there. I say that because I think it's similar to Chloe, who we've seen from season 1 continuously chasing after these tight-knit friend groups that are exclusive. Her winning their validation is like winning the validation of her parents. She's unfortunately used to it and is actually more of a people pleaser rather than just a mean girl. As a former people pleaser, I get it. I used to try to get people who didn't like me to be my friend, just because I was used to that. It's really fucked up and takes a while to break that bad habit. The next time Ray reads Chloe's diary, Ray notices that Chloe wanted to tell her about the photo shoot, but Ray was so focused on her own life that Chloe shut down.
I wanted to talk to you about God, my life. Well, I'm thinking of doing something a bit crazy. And I wanted to talk to you about it. So what? I missed a few days of college. That's not a big deal, is it?
This continues to show things in reverse and draws another parallel to how Ray continuously felt shut down by Chloe in the first season. Ray goes to see her dad to give him a ticket to her school concert and finds him leaving for a trip. Ray's dad sucks for this, but I think Ray really needed to be reminded that this is who he truly is and to not idolize him in her head. This was Ray's last resort, causing her to feel like she had no one left to support her. After being let down, Ray begins to miss Chloe and her support.
Why did she set the alarm off? I'm scared if she gets sick again, actually. We can't let that happen.
Once it's time for the concert, this is more evident when Ray gets nervous and starts to see Chloe everywhere. It's interesting that the audience is filled with the person who she feels the most judged by. It's like now that Chloe isn't around, Ray's so focused on Chloe's life as a way to distract herself from her own insecurities, i.e. her performance, her relationships, her mental health. This causes her to choke on stage in front of everyone. As she reads Chloe's diary, Ray begins to see that the same way Ray was using Groomer Guy to get over Finn and his groomer girlfriend.
Maybe I should accept that guys like Finn don't go out with girls like me. They want someone interesting, someone funny and clever.
Chloe was doing the same. However, she starts to see that while Ray was spending all that time with Liam, Chloe was all alone trying to get over Finn, as Finn was trying to get over Ray.
Do you know what, Ian? Go and find someone else to be horrible to because I'm leaving.
You'll be back.
You don't deserve me. And I deserve better.
You will be back. Because if I have to come and find you, I'll be very annoyed.
Reading Chloe's diary causes Ray to regret how she treated Chloe when she needed her help. This allows Ray to help locate Chloe, but also causes her to regress and feel bad for herself enough to go back to Liam, who she loses her virginity to.
You sure you want to do this?
Don't talk.
What are you doing?
I'm turning the light off. We're not exactly oil paintings, are we?
Ray comes home from Liam's house and sees Linda and Karim redecorating, and she's mad because she thinks they're trying to give her room to the baby, which makes Ray feel even more rejected while she's already at her lowest. Linda finds the record player that Ray's dad gave her, and she's distraught when she finds out Ray actually got in contact with him.
Well, you gave me his address. What do you expect?
I just don't know what you could possibly want from him, what he could bring to your life.
He's interested in me. He buys me amazing presents. He doesn't talk about babies all the time.
Ray then tells her mom that she doesn't care about the new baby, causing Linda to cry, as it feels like Ray's rejecting not only her, but her choices. Ray feels like she's at rock bottom, so she doesn't care how she makes others feel because she feels bad. She did this last season to her mom as well, showing that this dynamic is still there. Still embarrassed about the school concert, Ray skips school again and avoids going in. It truly feels like Ray regressed completely back to her old self. What I really respect about Ray's character is that even at her lowest, Ray will always have Chloe's back.
You can say whatever you want about me, but don't you ever say anything about Chloe. You better get...
At group therapy, Danny's leaving and saying goodbye at his final session. This scene highlights how even Danny's moving on, and Ray has no one left to lean on. Instead of leaning on her friends for support and developing personal coping mechanisms to help her, Ray tried to match what they were doing, which caused her to lose focus on her own personal healing journey. She basically rode the elevator when she should have been climbing the stairs, but then got too dizzy when she got to the top. Ray asks Kester if she can come back to the hospital, but he says that she doesn't need it because, to Kester, Ray hasn't self-harmed in months.
Professional opinion, I think you're wrong. If nothing had changed, then you'd still be hurting yourself.
Kester, people who are broken, they don't want you to be professional. They just want you to be real.
However, as of late, Ray hasn't been as open to Kester due to Liam, which makes me feel like maybe group therapy isn't the best setting for someone like Ray. This causes Ray to contemplate hurting herself again so she can go back to the mental hospital. She only stops when she gets a letter from Finn in the mail and realizes it's up to her to fix things with everyone. This again shows how Ray uses her friend's issues to distract herself from her own. When she goes to Chloe's house to start with her, she learns that Chloe's still missing and that her groomer boyfriend told her parents he hasn't seen her. Ray returns Chloe's diary to her mom in hopes that it may help them find her, admitting that she'd been a bad friend to Chloe now that she has read things from her perspective. I think Ray doing this was also in the hopes that Chloe's mom would read it and see things from Chloe's perspective like she did. Ray doesn't trust Chloe's groomer boyfriend and goes over there herself to see if she's there, but instead of finding her, Chloe's groomer boyfriend shits on Ray and tries to make her feel bad.
I was always surprised why Chloe was friends with you. She's beautiful. You're minging. We only let you hang out with us because Chloe told us you were funny and clever. That's what they always say about fat girls, isn't it?
Being an adult, groomer boyfriend knows what younger girls are insecure about and uses it against them. He's a true predator. This brings Ray back to contemplating hurting herself until she goes home and finds a trail of blood on the floor leading to Linda's bleeding body in the bathroom. To make things worse, the last thing Ray said to her mom was that she didn't care about the baby. So my girl Ray's just going through it. Ray calls an ambulance to get her mom help, but she and Krim are faced with waiting in the waiting room, unsure of what's happening. I really think it's important to show how Ray's relationships work both ways, and the way Ray relies on her friends and family to support her, they rely on Ray to support them. Hence, if she didn't come home after that argument with her mom, who knows what could have happened to her or the baby. Eventually, Kester calls Ray in for a therapy session, and they both apologize to one another, which allows Ray to open up about the real issues with her mom and her
I
friends.
shouldn't have come round to your house. I was angry because I was embarrassed about it.
Yeah, well, I shouldn't have lost my temper. I only did it because I care about you. From now on, we'll just establish the boundaries as we go.
Kester's blunt with Ray and repeats that the reason Ray has issues with all the people in her life is because she still doesn't like herself. Kester really hones in on self-affirmation and believing in oneself to achieve anything you want in life.
Imagine a 10-year-old version of yourself. Now tell that little girl she's fat.
I'm not gonna do that.
What would you tell her?
That she's perfect.
Then that's what you need to tell yourself. You need to soothe yourself.
There's no way Ray will ever be able to love herself or accept love from others if she doesn't see the value in who she is. While Ray's at the hospital, she's told she has a new baby sister, but her mom is still in a critical condition. During this trying time, Ray needs all the support she can get, so it's a miracle when Finn arrives back in town and visits Ray after deciding not to move to Leeds. He gives her a pep talk about staying in school and not quitting.
Everyone's crazy. Everyone has to struggle and fight. They just haven't realised it yet. You asked me why I liked you. It's because you're strong.
Finn is really good at seeing the best in Ray and showing her that she is the strong friend for a lot of people. Ray then meets her baby sister and she feels motivated by it all, to be strong and fix things by continuing to look for Chloe. It's impressive when we get to see Ray using her coping mechanisms in real time and allow it to help her solve the issues she might face.
You're perfect. You are perfect. Everything is gonna be okay.
Time you do one.
No. I'm looking for Chloe. Are you gonna move or what?
Ray really is the strong friend. When Ray finds Chloe, she's a mess and looks terrible. She tells Ray that she's sleeping with not only groomer boyfriend, but also his friends. Again, Chloe has been conditioned by her parents to be good at conforming to whatever she needs to fit in, even to her own detriment. Ray, being her true friend, can see that and knows when Chloe isn't being herself. Ray convinces Chloe to leave with her and takes care of her. Later on, Ray tells Chloe that she read her diary, but Chloe doesn't get mad and instead wallows in her sadness. But Ray, now knowing how to use her coping mechanisms, she can finally now give advice to others without being a hypocrite.
I'm not meant for a Finn. I'm meant for an Ian. Oh, Chloe, of course you're not. You need to start being kinder to yourself. You need to soothe yourself.
Ray's at her best self when she can share what she's gone through and what it has taught her about struggle. Linda's finally in a stable condition, so Ray goes to see her and they both apologize to one another for the argument they had prior to Linda's hospitalization. Linda then tells Ray that the record player that her dad gave her was the same one that he gave Linda 20 years ago for their anniversary. So you can tell this makes Ray suspicious of him and his intentions behind giving her that gift. Sure enough, Ray and Chloe head back to school for the first time since they both disappeared from school. Instead of fighting the mean girls and feeling insecure, Ray has learned to kill them with kindness when she realizes everybody's struggling with something. It becomes another coping mechanism that lets her see when other people are projecting to help keep her from internalizing their judgment.
There's a part in all of us that's scared and not sure. And when you get the ability to see that in yourself, you start to see that everyone is fighting every day.
Ray then finds Liam and breaks up with him, telling him that she doesn't want to be fucked up anymore. Thank God, Liam sucks. Following the trend, Ray even sends her real dad a final letter in the mail as she decides to move on from trying to form a relationship with him. It's brilliant to see Ray decide she not only deserves better from her friends and peers, but from her father as well. To respect yourself, it is important to protect yourself and set boundaries from those who do not have your best interests at heart. So it feels satisfying to see Ray learn that. Ray begins to claim Karim as her father figure in her life, especially after seeing her new room and hearing how he has been working extra jobs to afford the redecoration. And once Chop defends Archie in front of everyone at the pub,
This motherfucker here is a top fella. And I sat there and watched you two mugs take the piss out of him. I'm sorry, lad.
You didn't have to do it.
I love you, lad.
Archie forgives Chop, and so does Izzy, bringing the gang back together again. Plus, Ray invites my boy Danny to hang out with the gang. The second season ends with Ray allowing herself to get naked in front of Finn, and them finally having sex for the first time. It is similar to the first season where it ends with Ray solving all her problems with her friends and family, and her and Finn having an intimate experience. The third and final season of My Mad Fat Diary aired on June 22nd, 2015. Again, season 2 was Tom Bidwell's last season as the main screenwriter, and for season 3, George K was brought on to wrap up the series with 3 final episodes. When the third series opens up, we can see that they jumped ahead from 1996 to 1998, showing that Ray is now applying for university and finishing school. Ray starts off by being late to her university interview in Bristol, setting a rather rough first impression. However, when they try to be snarky and pretentious with her, Ray readily tells them off, respectfully something season 1 Ray Earl would have struggled to be confident enough to do.
Excuse me? I'm just saying it's alright for you. I'm sure you've got plenty of time for extra reading, but I live in the real world. And sometimes in the real world, real life gets in the way of extra reading.
Ray might have fucked up her interview, but she has already proved to the audience how much she has grown since we first met her. Ray and the gang are now older and planning for their futures. Along with applying to university, Ray works at the local record shop and loves it. Her baby sister is getting older, and her and Finn are still going strong. Ray has also stopped self-harming for over a year, and is in generally an overall better place. And Danny's still part of the gang. Oh, hell yeah. Finn tells Ray that he was able to save up for a new apartment in town, and when Ray goes over for some time alone with him, Finn tells Ray that he loves her for the first time. Honestly, I was surprised that it was the first time he has said it, since they've been going out for almost 2 years at this point, but I digress, they're young. When Ray gets home, she is completely caught off guard when she actually gets accepted into the University of Bristol. Ray doesn't want to leave now that her and Finn are in love, but Kester doesn't want her to throw away such a good opportunity over a boy when she hasn't experienced the world yet, and see what else is out there. Ray sees Finn as her future and can't see past the relationship. She even lies to her friends and tells them she got rejected. For someone like Ray, who works so hard to get to the state she's in, it's scary to think of having to start over. Chloe has done a complete 180 and is now focused solely on her future as a businesswoman. She's even dressing the part already. It's interesting to see Chloe's growth as well here, and how for the first time she doesn't care what people think about her anymore. She technically still changes to fit into groups, but at least it's professionally and not socially. On another note, Ray wants to set up Archie with her boss when she finds out that he is gay. When Ray gets home, she finds Linda snooping around her room as she finds Ray's acceptance letter to the University of Bristol.
Hey, do you know how many members of our family have been to university? None. I am so proud of you, young lady.
Ray getting to university makes Linda and Corinne proud of her, to the point where she realizes she can't turn down this opportunity without destroying them. Ray goes over to Finn's place to tell him the truth about university, but when he asks her to move in with him, she bursts with joy. It's like Ray's getting everything she wanted out of her teenage life. But as she nears adulthood, the things she once wanted as a teenager are now conflicting with the things she thought she wanted as an adult. At her next therapy session, Kester lets Ray know that it may be time to end their session.
Ray, we've been talking like this, me and you, for 2 years now. You have become someone extra special.
Are you splitting up with me?
We've reached a stage now, Ray, where we need to be looking to wind things down.
Which puts Ray in a funk to think she won't have Kester there to support her anymore. Therapy is really individualized and doesn't have to be an end-all be-all date. Sometimes you go more, sometimes you go less, and sometimes you don't go at all. Ray goes to the career day at her school, and she runs into an old student she met named Katie Springer, who she briefly met at Bristol.
You remember Chloe?
It's nice to meet you.
Hey, I like your costume.
Can I have your attention, everyone, please?
The word gets out about Ray getting into the University of Bristol, and everyone is reacting differently to it. When she gets home, Ray finds Finn at her house celebrating her getting into university with Linda and Karim. Finn feels disappointed and hurt, not only that Ray is going to leave him, but that she lied to him about getting into university. It makes Finn feel like he can't trust Ray, and he decides that they should go on a break. This is the first time someone has broken up with Ray, so she isn't used to the heartbreak. She was basing her future around her relationship with Finn, so for him to decide to end it makes the future seem bleak. When Finn leaves after this, Ray rubs her fist across the concrete bricks of her house, harming herself once again, demonstrating that Ray's still in recovery and is vulnerable to relapse even after all these years. It also shows that Ray hasn't fully learned to depend on herself for her future, and she still is reliant on her friends in her decision making.
But while my own future was uncertain, Archie was onto a sure thing.
Archie is ready to go and have sex for the first time with Ray's boss, as Ray and Danny sit outside in his car for moral support. After a while, Ray's anxiety is on edge.
He'll be in an advanced state of foreplay by now. Hands, tongues, fingers, you name it. He'll be every man for himself. Penetration, Ray, will be imminent.
So they peep in the window and see Archie banging Ray's boss. Ray tells Chloe she isn't going to university and that instead of worrying, they should celebrate at Finn's as a housewarming, despite taking a break from Ray and breaking up with her. Chloe is rightfully worried about Ray, but Ray is so stuck on a relationship with Finn that she cannot see what's going on around her right now. All of her friends are progressing, but Ray doesn't want to, so she tries to get them to act as if they aren't growing up and have more responsibilities. When they are in the car, Chloe sees Ray's bruised hand while driving and gets distracted, leading her to swerve before almost hitting another car. Chloe could tell something was going on with Ray, so Chloe reacting outwardly and Ray suppressing it is par for the course. Despite avoiding that car accident, another vehicle comes speeding down the road and slams into the driver's side of the car. Everyone is relatively okay except Chloe, who's in critical condition and has been hospitalized. Ray feels like it's her fault, and it shakes her up for the rest of the day.
Don't you get it, Finn? She's in here because of me.
No, she's not in here because of me.
Ray goes over to Chloe's house to see if there's anything she can do, but Chloe's dad basically tells her to stay away. This depresses Ray, but she doesn't give up. Ray knows that she's important to her friends, Chloe especially. It's great to see Ray stand up for herself in this way and continue pursuing ways to help Chloe feel better. While making Chloe a mixtape, Ray sees her dad at the record shop and sneaks past him. When Ray goes to the hospital to give Chloe the mixtape, Chloe's mom tells her off. When she goes to the pub, she finds out everyone is allowed to see Chloe except her. Ray runs into her father again at the record shop, and they have an unexpected heart-to-heart conversation where Ray is still distraught about Chloe and accidentally projects her feelings about the situation onto her father.
I don't think I treated your mum very well, Rachel. I regret it.
You don't realise what it's like to have the chance to say sorry for something bad that you've done.
Ray, I don't think she'd thank me for it.
Yeah, well, it's the right thing to do, so...
Because he's not involved in Ray's life and doesn't know what she recently went through, Ray's dad feels like Ray wants him to apologize to Linda and can't understand what she is really alluding to. Overcome with guilt, Ray decides she will take her exam as Chloe instead so that Chloe can graduate and go to university. However, after the exam, she realizes she fucked up and didn't complete it properly. Just as she's about to freak out, Katie Springer is there to pick her up. Ray's confused as to why Katie Springer keeps turning up, to which Katie starts to tell Ray that she bonded with Finn at the pub after Ray stormed off.
It's a big softy, isn't he? I had no idea he was so sensitive. Don't you remember him from college? Never talked to me at college. No one did. At least not to my face.
It's clear at this point that Kitty was an outcast, like Ray, when she was in high school, but to see how she keeps interfering with Ray's life makes Ray feel uncomfortable. Ray also isn't comfortable to be in a car since the car accident, so Katie only makes things worse. When Ray gets back home, she walks in on her mom's birthday party and realizes she forgot to get the cake for the party. To make matters worse, her father comes over drunk in an attempt to apologize to Linda.
What have I gotta do to make you love me?
Karim eventually throws him out and the party goes to shit. Ray starts to feel bad about herself, but Linda doesn't allow it.
This was a mistake. But if you're talking about what happened to Chloe, if you're blaming yourself for that, then don't. That's not your fault.
This is one of the first times we see Linda keep Ray from going to a dark place, and in my opinion shows that she believes in Ray's growth and doesn't want her to fall back into her negativity. At Ray's therapy session with Kester, she learns that he's working less hours, and so they meet in his car instead of his office. Kester is really trying his best to continue to help Ray when it's obvious he's going through major changes of his own. Ray being so concerned with her own issues, she isn't really paying attention to what's happening and downplays it. Kester drives Ray to the hospital and Ray sneaks past Chloe's mom to see Chloe. Chloe releases Ray from her grief and tells her that the accident wasn't her fault. Similar to Linda, despite Ray's faults, Chloe wants Ray to win and not fall back into a dark place. I think after this, Ray and Chloe can see that no matter how their friendship has been tested, they still have each other's backs and will continue to be there for one another. Whenever they think back to the trauma they went through, they will always remember the other being there for them and helping them be okay.
Okay.
Ray confesses to the school about her exam, which almost fucks up her future, until her mom is able to persuade them to give Ray a second chance due to her circumstances.
First person ever in our family to go to university, ever. She deserves that. You know she does.
Another W for Linda. I think after having her second baby and Ray basically saving her life, Linda really steps up for Ray. It just shows how much the relationship has improved over the years. After Ray finishes her exam, she goes to Finn's house to tell him that she doesn't care how long she has left before university and she still wants to be with him. However, our boy Finn has let us down, ladies and gentlemen. All together now, fuck Katie Springer. Ray can't handle it and runs back to the mental hospital to see Kester, but she finds out he hasn't worked there since April. For Ray, it seems like all her safe spaces have been corrupted, and she can't return to them for support. Despite Linda and Chloe's efforts to keep Ray from returning to her dark place, Ray panics and starts scraping her fist across the bricks of the hospital walls until the receptionist lets her in. Ray attempts to plead with Kester's replacement therapist to let her back into the hospital, but she reiterates that Kester said that she's fine and doesn't need to be there.
But the problems you're experiencing, troubles with your partner, questions about your future, issues about how you look, your self-esteem, these are found in the majority of people your age.
Ray's scared of her future, and so instead of trying to find ways to cope with the uncertainty that lies ahead, she'd rather go back to the mental hospital where nothing changes, and she can continue to stay the same. They give Ray a prescription, but don't let her stay. As Ray leaves the mental hospital, Kester tries to get her attention as he has snuck in to speak to her. Once Kester sees Ray's bruised hands, he's upset but explains to Ray that she is ready for life and the lengths at which he has gone to make sure of that.
I was suspended, and even though I was banned from the building, I kept coming back. But by that point, it didn't matter, Ray, because we did it. If you don't believe me, look in your diary.
The diary doesn't work.
I disagree. It's all in there, Ray. I mean, I've never read it myself, but I know the ending. It's about this amazing girl who achieves all her dreams.
Like the other relationships Ray has, Kester also relies on Ray to be strong because he cares for her, and he doesn't feel as if he can move on until she allows herself to. I really like Kester's advice to get Ray to read her own diary to see how therapy and working on her coping mechanisms has helped her grow and be prepared for the world. The same way that Ray was able to read Chloe's diary to learn about her, she should read hers to learn about herself. Ray tries Kester's last piece of advice and reads her diary, but she's way too anxious and it all comes across as bullshit to her, so she decides to put all her concentration on studying for her exams. However, she's too distracted by her thoughts of Finn and Katie Springer. When Chloe senses something is wrong, she defends Ray also, which is really cool.
Just so you know, if I found out you've done something to make my mate cry while I've been in hospital, I'm gonna do something to make you cry. Do you know what I'm saying?
Ray finally meets with Katie Springer to hear her side of the story, and Katie's bitch ass tells Ray that she's bringing all her friends down with her problems, especially Finn.
Your problems are bringing him down, Ray. He's just too nice a guy to say anything. They all are. All of your friends. Like some kind of voodoo doll, is that what you're saying? They just think that you're always gonna be like this.
Katie really has no right to tell Ray this. Homegirl has only been around for like a week or two, and she thinks she has Ray and her friends all figured out. Say it again, folks. Fuck Katie Springer.
I don't fuck with you.
Linda's worried about Ray, and now that Krim is leaving to Tunisia to work for 6 months, Ray feels bad that her mom is staying behind in England because of her issues and her not wanting to leave for university.
Going off to uni. Are you? Because we want you to go to uni, of course we do. We even broke open the non-alcoholic bloody champagne. But every day since then, things seem to be getting harder and harder for you. I can't leave until you can.
This further makes Ray believe that what Katie Springer said was true and that she's a burden on her friends and family. It's a really crappy feeling to think that you are holding the people in your life back, but you can't allow yourself to believe you have no value in their lives. It's not up for you to decide that. People are allowed to love you even if you don't love yourself. Girls like Katie project how they felt during their high school experience onto girls like Ray, thinking they're the same, despite Katie wishing she had the life that Ray currently has. This causes Ray to contemplate swallowing a bottle of pills and drowning herself in the bathtub, but she decides against it. Ray listens to Kester's suggestion to read through her diary to see how she's grown, and so when she can't find someone to come save her, she uses her diary to figure out how to save herself. This helps her to see that she has the power to change the way she sees things and ultimately the way she behaves. With the new outlook on things, Ray returns to Kester's replacement therapist, and Ray asks if she'd be willing to write a letter explaining her circumstances in case she doesn't get the grade she needs to get into university. She even returns the new medication they gave her as a sign she feels done with therapy and that she can handle her life. Ray brings her friends together at the pub to tell them the truth about Finn and how she's been feeling lately.
Because I've got great mates, I'll be scared, but I'll be okay. You have to promise me that you're not going to worry and you're not going to hate Finn.
It's okay to hate Katie Springer though, right?
Yeah, definitely.
One more time, guys. Fuck Katie Springer. I really love how Ray's friends support her after this, with Danny offering to take her to the dance, and Chloe, well, Chloe's fine.
I told you, Katie! I warned you! What are you doing? I warned you. You mess with my best mate, this is what happens. Your shitty little car gets it.
Chloe, that's not my car. That's my car.
Ray's mom gives her a dress for the dance, and Ray says she'll only wear it if her mom goes to Tunisia.
This still looks sore.
But they'll heal. I am learning how to handle things.
But how am I going to know you're okay?
You don't.
Shout out to Linda this season, as she was really much more attentive to Ray, and I just want to note how much that relationship improved as her mom started to defend Ray and be on her side more. When Ray goes over to Chloe's house later, Chloe feels worried about the future and what comes next.
Everyone's leaving. It's just life, isn't it? It doesn't matter where we are or what we're doing. I promise we are always going to be Chloe and Ray.
This scene is probably one of the most real scenes in the show. Those last few days feel so intense because you know things will never be the same, and you can't help but be emotional, regardless if you loved or hated school. It just feels good seeing Ray reassure Chloe and Chloe defending Ray. It's the best version of their friendship and shows that they honestly do love one another. At the dance, everyone looks great, but by the gang's reactions, no one looks better than Finn.
Looking beyond sexy in a tuxedo, which, dear diary, is not the point.
Lisa?
Sorry.
Archer?
However, despite them breaking up, Ray still goes to the dance with Finn, but sets and keeps her boundaries, knowing that she's moving on and her future may not necessarily be with Finn.
I shouldn't have made out that you were Mr. Perfect.
If it all goes tits up in Bristol, you know where to find me, don't you?
If it goes tits up in Bristol, then, well, I'm just gonna have to figure it out on my own.
She's all grown up, y'all. The gang really embrace one another during their last moments together as a group. It's really fucking touching and pulls at the heartstrings and shit. God damn it. I can see how everyone in the group improved in some way, with the obvious ones being Chloe and Ray. But even Archie coming out, Chop being able to accept Archie and confess his feelings to Izzy, and Finn, actually, now that I think about it, Finn never really changed. He's always been the good guy. I mean, other than the random Katie Springer hookup, he's always been the good guy. Damn, I'm just caught off guard because this is the third video and I'm just now realizing he's like motherfucking Prince Charming. Admittedly, I mentioned in the first video that Finn wasn't a real character in the actual My Mad Fat Diary novel, and that the screenwriter Tom Bidwell took creative liberty and made him up to help tell the story, so it makes sense why Finn seems too good to be true. So yeah, Finn is great and all, but he's fictional. Set personal but realistic standards for yourselves, please. And then later on we get to see Ray and Kester's final session. I can't even.
There you go.
See ya!
No, not if I see you first.
Kester may be one of my favorite TV characters. I feel like he's talking to me half the time, and I start getting in my feelings. It's okay to cry, guys. Rest in peace, Sophie. I don't often get emotional at series finales, other than 6 Feet Under, for which I cried like I was at a funeral, but I can't lie, even on the rewatch, I was bawling. I tried to hold it in, but I saw ticks at the end, and it got me, y'all. Beautiful ending, A+, no notes. Again, the show really gets stuck with you after you watch it, and the series finale really makes sure you leave with all the feels. Shout out to the screenwriter George K for really sticking the landing with this one. Tom Bidwell did his thing, and obviously the cast really enjoyed that ending. My Mad Fat Diary is an amazing piece of television and overall storytelling. The characters and their outfits, the settings, the plots and subplots, the acting and dialogue, the soundtracks, and just the general world of the show feels so authentic and natural. The actors were all spot on and brilliant, exploring so much while never turning anything into a gimmick, reminding us there's always more to the story. The show really embraces the intricacies of reality while sticking true to the real Ray Earl's experience, allowing the audience to quietly absorb all the lessons Ray learns and be a part of this growing experience. There aren't many times we get a show like this that does so much right, even if there are a few things they could have done differently. Remember to be good to yourselves and treat those around you better. We're all dealing with insecurity, so just try to be your best. If you haven't in a while, give My Mad Fat Diary a good rewatch. You won't regret it. It's free on Tubi now, y'all. And thanks again to the real Ray Earl for sharing your story.